You know, I think white people have just about had it. We've crossed over from, now, well, wait just a minute, and moved straight on into Newsflash, pal. We are at DEF CON 2, and we are showing signs of hitting DEF CON 1. Warning, warning. At first, I thought this was going to be one of those stupid two-day dust-up discourses. But now, I think we're witnessing a cultural flashpoint. And I'm beginning to think that this was inevitable. Hi, folks. I'm Paul, and this is my take. Race relations in the United States have had a tumultuous history, to say the least. Despite many efforts over the last 160 years, we have failed to achieve the racial nirvana that was promised to us by the Civil Rights Act of 1964. While in certain areas I'd say we've definitely improved, for my entire lifetime, I think we've seen a series of cultural flashpoints that have proven that race relations quite possibly were never all that great. Like many conservative individuals in the boomer generation, my parents largely blame Barack Obama for the condition that race relations are in today. Electing a black man to the most powerful position in the nation, possibly even the world, should have proved that racism was dead in America. If the majority of a country could get behind a black man to lead them, that's a pretty good indicator that America didn't care about skin color. So imagine these baby boomers' disappointment when President Obama inserted himself into controversial racially charged cases like Ferguson or Trayvon Martin. And he furthered this idea that black men were being marginalized and violently attacked purely on the fact that they were black. When in reality, if you study those events and the cases that came from those events, you would see that people like Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin were not simply black, but they were being violent. But I would argue that things were bad long before Barack Obama. Things were bad when I was still in diapers during the O.J. Simpson trial. Everyone knows that he killed Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. But what did we see when O.J. was acquitted? We saw an uproarious celebration from large swaths of the black community. The idea that one of us killed two of them and got away with it was a message that was pretty clear and obvious. And yet, despite all of this, white people have worked tirelessly to root out any kind of racism within themselves, their neighbors, and their countrymen. We've restructured our legal system. We've changed the qualifications that people need to get a job or get into college. We've even invented a new term, microaggression, to target and destroy something that could even just be perceived as racism in its most microscopic form. White people have bent over backwards to prevent other whites from deriding our black neighbors and countrymen. All the while, the black community, by and large, has displayed little to no interest in holding members of their own community accountable in instances where violence and offense are committed against their white neighbors and countrymen. And I think a lot of people are starting to understand that this is not sustainable. And that's what brings us to today's topic, Shiloh Hendrix. This woman should not be famous, but I think it's probably a good thing that she is. Now, if somehow you haven't heard about this story, let me give you a quick summary. Last week in Rochester, Minnesota, this woman was filmed on the playground with her son, and she said the N-word. A young black boy alleged to be 5 years old and autistic, although at the time of me recording this, his age and disability status are yet to be confirmed, was caught by Hendrix stealing items out of her diaper bag. And in a moment of anger and exasperation, she called the young boy a n***, which prompted a nearby man to pull out his cell phone and begin filming her, goading her into repeating what she had said to the boy when she caught him stealing from her. After this, the man followed her to her car, recorded her license plate, and uploaded the video to the internet. And it wasn't long before people knew who she was, where she lived, what her work situation was, even where she went to work out. She was full-on doxxed. And historically, an angry crash out like the one she had on the playground, and this following doxing, would be a life sentence at being a social outcast at best, and at worst, having to live in constant fear of being violently attacked in public or even at your home. And we know that this was the intention of the man filming her. He even says in his video, "Let's see what the internet has to say about this." This man fully intended to destroy Hendrix's life. All because she said the word. And that's actually one of the most interesting elements of this story, the man filming her and his motivations. He's quite the character too. Let's not leave his name out of the story. Sharmake Omar, the Somali man gleefully filming this woman. And as this story developed and we learned more information about her, we also learned some more interesting information about Sharmake, like his run-in with the law, being accused of and arrested for the sexual assault of a minor. People started asking, what was this guy doing on a playground? By himself? What was this guy even doing on American soil? That is some serious audacity, to be out here shaming a white lady for saying a mean word when you have that kind of arrest on your record. But when it comes to the social rules of the United States, this guy, as many other people know, you could be a thief, you could be a violent attacker, you could even be a foreign child molester, but you will never be as evil as a white person who uses the nigger word. And Sharmake expected her life to be destroyed over the use of it. But that's where things didn't go as expected. After her name and address were released to the public and she began receiving threats, she started a fundraiser to relocate her family out of Rochester, Minnesota. She began the fund by asking for about $20,000 to cover the costs of moving. By the following day, she had received over $250,000. And now, almost a week later, it's sitting at well over $600K. Most of the contributions are from anonymous supporters, sending in donations of $50 and under. So what does that mean? Are there hundreds of thousands of white people in America who are secretly racists, and everyone who donated to this fund hates black people? No. I think that it means that a lot of white people have mentally arrived at the same destination I have. Now, I don't like the use of the word nigger. I think it's rude and unbecoming of a lady or gentleman. I don't like hearing swear words in public. I think it's déclassé. But you know what I dislike a whole lot more? Stealing, foreign child molesters on American playgrounds, gang violence, drug violence, white kids getting stabbed through the heart by black kids. I hate all of these things so much more than I hate the use of a rude word. But on this list of terrible things, which one typically receives the most racially charged outrage? This $600K in donations is a lot of money, but it's not about the money. It's about sending a message. And that message is essentially, there is a critical mass of white people in America who are done being made to feel guilty about the actions and behaviors of people who lived 100 years before they did. If you want me to get outraged over the use of a mean word, you need to fix all of this, and then we can talk. But until you get this under control, until you can rein in your community from essentially monetarily rewarding Carmelo Anthony for killing Austin Metcalf, I don't think we should ruin Shiloh Hendrix's life because she used the nigger word. There are crimes worse than racism. Crimes so much worse than racism. And this $600K is a symbol of that growing belief. Shiloh Hendrix is not a hero. She doesn't deserve the over $500,000 that she has received. She doesn't deserve the money. She doesn't deserve to be doxxed. She doesn't deserve to be threatened. She doesn't deserve to be harassed at the playground. She doesn't deserve any of this. But you know what she does deserve? To be able to take her kid to the park without fear or worry of someone stealing from her or running into a foreign child molester. That's what she deserves. That's what Americans deserve. And we don't have that. I would much rather have that for my family, myself, people who share my beliefs and values than over $600,000. I would rather have a high trust society than $1 million. And a lot of people feel the same way that I do. And a lot of people are beginning to ask themselves, okay, how do we do that? How do we make that a reality? How do we get this high trust society back? We had it in America not that long ago, and now it's gone. How did that happen? And the answer to that question is in a different video. If you want me to go into that, I can make a future video, but I don't know, leave me a comment and I'll see what I can do. But that's all I've got for today. What do you think? Do you think it's wrong for Shiloh Hendrix to receive all this money? Do you think it's good or bad to see this much rallying behind her generally? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. As always, if you enjoy my content and want to see more, I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. Hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I will see y'all next time.